Hey, here we are again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The LOCKBOX, presented by the Grandon Group, Arizona's #1 brother and sister real estate team. And, of course, my co-host, Angela.
Hello. Hey.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm trying to keep cool.
Are you?
Yeah.
Hey, we're at the end of summer.
Yeah. I came in real hot today.
What we consider the end of... Yeah, you look great today.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm at the weather.
What's going on in the mortgage industry, VIP?
It's still busy. Pretty big, yeah. People are trying to get into homes, getting loans, and we're staying really busy, so it's exciting.
Well, so today our guest, we're going to have a good time today with our guest, but let me ask you something.
Okay.
As a realtor or a lender, do you think, professionalism-wise, they should have to wear, like, always nice clothes? I mean, be presentable, like nice shirts, pants, or do you think it's all right for a realtor to show up in thongs and a T-shirt to show a $10 million house?
I don't know. I think everybody has their own style, but I definitely would want to work with somebody who looks professional. I think appearance is a big deal. So, I mean, obviously...
Yeah, you can tell a lot by... Like, you look great today. You came dressed up, and I'm going to Hawaii.
I'm not always dressed up, and I still like to be professional even when I'm not dressed up. But I think, what you wear, and it says a lot about you.
No, I agree. And there's... we've got 40-some thousand realtors out here.
Right. You got to stand out.
So
right?
I had one show up the other day with his client to show one of the houses we have listed. He showed up in a van. I swear to God, it had carpet in the van.
Oh.
So it looked like one of those old Scooby-Doo vans.
That's interesting.
And he had a shirt, actually kind of similar to this, but more sloppy. And he was fat and in thongs. And, they're spending like $800,000 on a house.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I guess... a lot of times you're meeting clients right for the first time and you want to make a good first impression. So I don't know. I've always dressed up.
No, hey, that's all right.
That's my speed.
So our guest today, he actually works in the Corcoran Platinum Living with us. He's a team leader. And the reason, we invite him for several reasons. He's super cool. But he's always got the cool look. He's got the cool voice.
Nice.
He's not dressed in a suit today, which I thought, he's going to be in a suit, but he looks cool.
Yeah.
And this is the way it is. So everybody, welcome BRET CEREN.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
No, this is great.
Yeah, he does have a great voice.
He does. He's got the radio voice, radio TV voice. So BRET, how long have you been doing real estate?
7 years.
That's it? Wow.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought you were in it longer.
No, we've been in marketing for a lot longer than that. So I was in marketing in a publicly traded company previous to that, and kind of got the bug being down here in our beautiful sunshine and our great properties. So got into the industry. So
when you got into the industry, did you jump into it full time, or was it just kind of like some people tip their toe in it?
I thought I was going to tip my toe, but then just jumped right in.
Yeah,
that's great. And
it's the way to do it.
Exactly. So we talk about this all the time and stuff. I personally think if you're a realtor, this should be a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I agree. Yeah, it's actually the hardest work I've ever done, but it has, in many ways, it's the most rewarding. Everybody could be a potential client because everybody needs a roof over their head, right? And so, and knowing that the work we do literally changes outcomes, sometimes it puts people on a path that changes the progression of their family, right? If they've never owned a home and you get them into being the first-time homeowners, like their world has changed forever, and that's very rewarding to me.
No, that is rewarding,
that's
and
huge.
You like dealing with first-time buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. They are my favorite.
So what's really intriguing about BRET is 7 years, and he is without a doubt one of the top agents in Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the Grandon Group, but but we work in the same group. So, and it's really impressive. In fact, he's so good. He's a guest speaker at a new upcoming event. On the 15th. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. So on Wednesday, our broker, Jay, he does this pretty much every year. Last year we took a break. There was some stuff kind of going on you might have heard of. But but it's the What's Working Now Marketing Masterclass. And it's going to go all day, 9 to 3 or 9 to 4. The morning, we are going to cover some of the top issues facing agents in Arizona. And it's similar to your show. It's gonna be sexy. It's gonna be kind of we're gonna press the envelope just a little bit. And so, if people want to know what they need to do to set the stage for future success, they got to be here. And so it's a free event. They just need to register. And then we've got that in the morning. And then the afternoon, we're going to have a panel of some of the top agents and team leaders throughout Arizona. And Jay's going to do an open forum where you ask some different questions. So it'll be a great time to learn from that too.
That's awesome.
So this will be great. So Brett's out there, hustling. And you've got a team too.
Yes.
So he's out there hustling his business, but he's also making time to help other agents so they can
huge.
expand. And that's what we all need as realtors, is all to work together.
Especially right now, right? Because everything in this industry, I feel like, is changing and has it's been changing for a while, and then some things have changed overnight.
Sure.
So I think it's
building and then a quick shift.
Exactly.
So,
So you spend a lot of time studying the market.
Yep.
And you feel you're pretty accurate at it?
Yeah, we're pretty good. Nobody has a perfect crystal ball,
Right.
But I got an MBA in finance from Grand Canyon University here, Go Lopes, so my alma mater, and we use those skills to help our clients and our fellow agents really almost every day. So we're in the data, looking at it, reviewing it, really trying to make sense of things that are going on, because we hear anecdotes, we read the headlines, we hear things from our clients. Of course, people talk around the water cooler and everything. And sometimes you need the actual truth, right? It's not just about the anecdote, but what is the market actually doing?
Right.
What's actually happening? And sometimes providing that clarity helps people make better decisions. And that's what we need when we're dealing with a lot of money, people's largest financial transactions that they may ever do. So
Absolutely.
probably ought to be informed about it.
No, absolutely. And this is, without a doubt, one of life's biggest decisions.
Yeah.
So, we get people, I'm not going to buy a house this month or this year because I'm going to wait for the market to crash.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you listening, the market, I'm sure of it, market's not crashing. Brett, what do you think?
No, it's not. It's not. Whether you want to compare it to when the market did actually crash.
In 08,
right,
07, 08?
Right, which, now we're talking 13, 14 years ago. It was a long time ago, right? Literally none of the factors that made that crash occur are present today.
Right.
Now, you and I both know, we all know that it feels a lot like it, right? Because, run up in prices, competitive nature on homes, a lot of those things, but literally every single reason is different. And there's more sales going on now than, August, we looked at it, more sales in August in our MLS than any other month prior this year. So more people are getting homes, more people are putting their homes on the market, which is what needs to happen.
Right.
And so more buyers are being successful, but sales are not falling off.
No.
And so it's still, you still got to play a smart fundamental game, whether you're a buyer or a seller, in order to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish.
So what are you telling your sellers? Somebody comes to you and they're like, Brett, I want to buy a house, but I know I'm going to get top dollar for my house, but they're not going to buy another house. So where are you going?
Well, if they're not going to buy, that's a great position to be in. But you do need to pay attention to what's going on. It is still an appreciating market, but it's not quite, the same frenzy. Depending, we're getting pockets at different places, but there are still, you need to position your property well. It needs to be well marketed. Stop this post and pray stuff. No cell phone pictures, please.
Yeah.
Please be a professional about the marketing you're going to do, and position the house well, and you're going to do fine, right? And then as a buyer, you need to be smart on your fundamentals too. You need to have a strong pre-qualification from a local lender, and you need to be smart about what you're going to do too.
Well, Angela, what are you saying with the pre-quals?
I think a big thing that we talk about is affordability. And so when you're talking about prices that are higher than they have been in the past for buying homes, you have to also look at the interest rates, which are much lower than they have been in the past. And then another thing that is a huge factor is rents. So rents are going up. Meanwhile, interest rates are still low. And even if home prices are higher or stay kind of where they are, the affordability portion is knowing, hey, if you get a mortgage, chances are you're going to have a mortgage for 30 years at a fixed rate. You can get different types of loans, but typically that's what you do, right? If you are renting, your rent can go up, from 1 year to the next, hundreds of dollars.
Right.
So we look at that. We have those kinds of conversations when we're talking with people who are looking to buy a home, who are currently renters. We just have those conversations because affordability, you have to look at the whole picture.
Right. Well, and it even goes a step further, especially in the case of rents, in that you're not even guaranteed that same home next year once your lease is up. We had several clients last year where the landlords decided to sell the home, and it was going to be an owner-occupant, not another investor buying that property, and we had to figure out what to do. So
Yep.
when you own your own home, you don't have to worry about that. You have the stability of the foundation,
Exactly.
until you decide to make a move, not
Yeah.
somebody else making that decision for you.
We're seeing that as well.
Another crazy thing we get, people are like, oh, well, if I wait, I can have the landlord take care of any items that need fixed. There's home warranties out there. And I know BRET and I know our team and stuff, we buy the home warranty if we have to. We don't let anyone buy a house without having a home warranty.
Oh, that's amazing.
No.
Yeah. I don't know how you can buy a house without the home warranty. Like, why would you, right? And the fact that you guys, that do that.
Well, you just
amazing.
put out anywhere from a minimum of 3% of the purchase price all the way up to 20% plus.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want any of these large ticket items to go out right away.
Exactly.
And while comparatively Arizona homes are not as old as they are in other places nationally, but most of our main communities are at least 20 years old, which means, the HVAC system, the air conditioning could be on its way out.
Yep.
And now even with the coolant change, then even if it could be repaired, maybe a replacement's going to be more in line anyway. So, I would agree with you on that. You need to make sure that you have those things in place as a protection, especially for that first year.
Are you seeing a lot of people come in and they're like, I'll waive the appraisal, I'll waive the inspections, which I highly recommend do not waive that stuff. But,
Right.
What are you saying?
Well, we have a couple things. One, what we do, we try to limit the scope of the inspection really to health and safety items, right, first and foremost. And as you know, in Arizona, there are no required repairs, first and foremost, right? And so it's only what be negotiated between the buyer and the seller. But nothing's required any longer. But we really try to say, look, we see the home, we walked the home, we're really looking for things we couldn't see when we did that, things that may be larger ticket items or things that maybe make the home dangerous to actually live in. And that's what we're kind of looking at first and foremost. But on the appraisal side, definitely not recommending that we waive appraisal. Often what we're going to try to do is put enough money down that we get maybe an appraisal waiver from the lender and help us in that case. We have a listing that's having that right now. But what we really want to do, whether it's our listing or our buyers, we have an appraisal preparation program that we do where we really do about 90% of the appraiser's job for them. They're not required to use the information, but we have over 95% success rate with the homes making the value. And Jason, sometimes it's a squeaker. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. And I think first and foremost, it's because the appraisers feel like they don't have to be the ones to go out on the limb, right? Like they can see why the seller did what they did, why the buyer did what they did, and even if they pick different comps than what we select, then they at least know, look, it can be substantiated, and so they don't feel like they're out there all by themselves. And so, so we don't recommend waiving appraisals because we'll build that into what we're doing for our buyers and for our sellers. But at the end of the day, you still got to win that offer too. So.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And that leads us right into our next topic of worth ethic. So I know a lot of people think nothing near, and I know we've talked about this before. You go get a burger at Red Robin or something. Can I take your order? Yeah, I'll have a cheeseburger. Oh, you're a realtor? Yeah. I think about getting my license. And, I'm going to pick up some extra cash. Nothing more irritating than that because this is a hard job.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So when we go into work ethic, you're not going home and kicking on the TV and just waiting for a call. You're doing research and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we stopped last night about 10 or 11 o'clock last night, and so picked it up again at 9 today. So, yeah, I mean, it's and not all that is directly for clients, but some of it is we're digging our well before we're thirsty, right? We're trying to do, whether it's research or other preparation or other things. And then you do get the phone call, right? I got the text message last night, hey, I'm thinking about selling my home. What do you think? And so we get to respond to that. But you do a lot of preparation for those calls, right? It's a fortune favors the prepared mind kind of thing.
No, absolutely. Yep. And it's the same thing in lending.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not just sitting there.
There are no days off, right? Unless we absolutely designate that time off.
Right.
I mean, your phone can ring at any time. And you need to be prepared and be able to help your buyers or sellers. So I think that goes into a segment we did not too long ago, the for sale by owner. And like everything you guys just talked about with appraisal or with inspections, like when you are not being represented as the seller or the buyer, you're missing out. I don't think people really, the general public really understand a true professional as a real estate agent, like what you guys really do day in and day out, and how many hours are put into what you do.
Well, and you don't know what you don't know. And so sometimes it's easy to try and equate that to a percentage of the price that you want or whatever. But Jason, even just from the sense of guiding sellers on their disclosures and, the things that they need to be doing in relationship to the buyers, selling the house is one thing, closing the transaction is a whole other thing. And so it really requires both sides.
And there's nothing worse than, this will sound bad, but nothing worse than an easy transaction when it goes super smooth, especially on a for sale by owner. Then they're like, I can do this all the time.
Yeah.
Those are the easy ones. Those are the ones you never really hear about. It's the hard ones like Brett and I, I mean, how many times have you actually thought this is going to be the smoothest deal, and all of a sudden you get down to the wire and it falls short? Yeah.
Closing is winning, that's for sure. So just getting it across that finish line, sometimes you just, you push for that. But there's always, you are holding your breath, waiting for that shoe to drop until it actually does record, right? Because it could, even with solid underwriting, solid lending practices, they get excited and they go buy that fridge and they put it on the 24-month credit and now the ratios are out of whack, right? I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen until it actually closes. So, you hold your breath.
And that's where a good lender comes in. Right. Do not buy anything. Sometimes people paying off credit cards will screw it up.
Yeah, we have to be very careful because sometimes we'll tell them, and that's why every client is different. They have a different situation. Sometimes we're telling clients, hey, go spend a little bit on this credit card. And sometimes we're saying, don't do a thing. And sometimes we're saying, hey, pay some of this off. So it's tricky. But that's why you have a good lender, a good real estate agent. You need a good team surrounding you for sure.
No, absolutely. And what's, one thing about Brett, and I want to brag about you a little bit, is 7 years. And there's a lot of people that don't even get started.
Right.
And so 7 years to be one of the top agents in the state is pretty good
congratulations.
Deal. No, I appreciate that. And you talked about it earlier, the concept of sharing. Largely in this space, it really isn't. Our broker Jay, he talks about it lunchtime in the prison, right? You just kind of right, looking, and there's a zero sum mentality about if you win, that means that I lost, and that's one of the things that's different about our real estate house at Corcoran, and then in my team itself, the North Valley Agents, is we want to share, we want to develop, we want to celebrate victories. Those are all core values that we have. And so, that's the way I like to work and be worked with. And so to propagate that value out to others is really a key thing we try to do.
And we see quite a bit of it because you only hear about the bad agents out there. But if Brett's killing it and we're not doing anything, you have to cheer him on because this is a full circle game.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, some days you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, you never know when you're going to work with that other agent, right? So every single transaction you do, you want to be professional and, you want every agent out there to be doing the best job they can be doing because that's going to be easier on you, the lender, title, the buyers, the sellers, everybody involved.
That's a good lead in. So let's get Brett on this one.
What's next?
So with the new agents coming on board, whether they're coming to Corcoran, which they should, but if any brokerage, do you think new agents that have never been in this business before should have to have a mentor for at least a few transactions?
I think that the ones that do succeed do. Yeah. Okay. And so, I mean, you think about most trade professions, they do. I mean, there's apprenticeships and there's a path of progression for it. I started working with a guy. I've worked on other teams before building my own team. But then even in addition to that, just like you, mentored by Jay, but I also invest every year heavily into my own coaching and training, specifically with Craig Proctor Coaching, as he's my coach, and Lester Cox here in the Valley is my direct one-on-one coach. But then I also turn around and I coach others. Before our show today, I was coaching agents across North America on some of the things that I think that they need to be doing regardless of their market in order to do it. So there's no doubt that it shortens your cycle to success, and it helps you to avoid mistakes that you otherwise would encounter, and it's worthwhile. I mean, it's the money that you may pay for that, whether you're sharing in a commission or you're outright paying for it, it's going to repay dividends to you very quickly in mistakes you avoid, things you do better, and things you do it faster. And so I absolutely believe in that concept.
No, I think that's great. Sense. And he's out there sharing this information with other people that want to listen to it. Now you get the new agents that come on, they go to a small brokerage and they pay their monthly fee and they're out there and they actually make it harder for us, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we get to do part of their job for them.
We get to do most of their job for them.
Yeah.
No, it is. So now, do you think, in the past, it's always been, it's the agent or the brokerage. Do you think the brokerage makes a difference?
Absolutely. There's no question.
You want to explain that?
Sure. Well, and so it could be things from culture,
right?
But leadership, whatever happens at the top flows downhill, right? And so, and real estate's different than a lot of other spaces because sometimes it's just a churn and burn game, right? Can you fog a mirror? Do you have an active license, and do you not have any disciplinary actions, right? So if that's it, it's like we want you. Yeah. And on one hand, it's nice to have that, but then sometimes you're left to your own devices, and that's not good. But if you work to build a culture that attracts the type of agents that you want, like we have at Corcoran, then it does make a difference. And Jay works hard, Michelle works hard, Brittany and all of our team there works hard in order to help propagate that. Now, our house is not the house for everybody,
right?
But there is a brokerage. It's like Baskin Robbins, right? Like there's 31 flavors. You can find a brokerage that fits what you're looking for. And legally, you do have to have your license there, but I would highly encourage you to have something that's more involved, even if it is an investment, than just simply a flat fee each month. Not bashing that model. There's a value in it, but a lot of times people just need more help, and a flat fee doesn't get you the help you need.
Well, and that he's hit it. I mean, when you get into real estate and decide to be a realtor or lender, it's an investment.
Absolutely.
And
it's your career, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's so the more, I always think it's a lot easier and more fun to work and be surrounded by people. So agents that get in the business and are kind of just doing it on their own, although they can be successful,
right.
They're going to learn some things. So take a little bit longer to maybe get through some of those learning points. But I just think it's so much more fun. If we're going to be doing something every day for years and years and years, we might as well be having fun doing it. So when you're surrounded by a group of people like-minded, that want to grow and have fun, and it's just a lot more fun.
Well, there's an African proverb that says, if you run alone, you can run fast, but if you run together, you can run far, right? And so you can be a lone wolf, or you can be a part of a wolf pack, and I think there's safety in numbers, or whatever you want to call it, but the idea of cohesion really makes a difference. At case in point, so want to brag on one of my agents, Chase. So he's a brand new agent. He's a successful businessman, but he's wanted to be in real estate for a long time, and he did come on to our team. And as a first time agent, he just last night put in his 6th escrow. He started in February or March, right?
Wow, so 6 months old?
Yeah, so he's one a month is kind of what he's coming up on. And this is his first deal that he's sourced on his own. And you're always like really proud when they do that, right? They begin doing that. But his other 4 to 5 have been ones that we've provided for him, which is part of what the value of a good team or, the mentorship model was that you were discussing. And so, but now it's like he's getting it and it's progressing. And the good news is it's his largest one to date so far, but his sphere is now not only seeing that he's an agent and seeing the marketing is doing, but seeing that he's booking business and that he will be able to get the job done. And so they're beginning to bring the business to him, which is what we want. We want those sphere. We want that repeat client and the referral. But sometimes that's the hardest to get. We got to get some of the other stuff, whether it's through marketing or open houses or whatever. So.
Oh, great. Well, congrats, Chase.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, as a team, do you want to have a big team, or do you like having just a right size team or the right people team?
Definitely right people. And so being very selective about that because we have our core values, of course, that we want to embody. Most people really resonate with those values, which is a good thing, but the right people, and right now at least, we're talking about maybe being more of the special forces as opposed to the general army, right? And so the right size, we know where we want to be, in both 5 and 10 years, and so the right people who are going to be on there will help accomplish that. But the North Valley is a big place. I see that being what the East Valley was 20, 30 years ago, a ton of opportunity. And so we'll grow to accomplish the size of the vision for sure.
Well, so you're doing the real estate yourself and you're doing the team. You're the team lead. Do you have set of demands for your team to bring out to the public?
Well, like there's a way that we operate to the public, absolutely. So like one of the top things that we really want to work on is the idea of both intentionality in the things that we do and say, but also professionalism and respect. Right? We were talking about work ethic, or we were talking about the dress code earlier, and we want people to have confidence in us because of what it is. And even though it's a highly emotional process, it's not just a transaction, it's a process, highly emotional, the client can say and do all kinds of things. We cannot say and do all kinds of things. And so that's part of the thing. And so I want people to know and understand that when they work with the North Valley agents, we are professionals, we are full-time agents, and we take the trust that the people put in us very seriously in order to not only get the job done, but to deliver superior outcomes to them. So.
And the other great thing about Brett's team, our team, and stuff like that, and this is to a lot of teams out there, you can always get a hold of them. So if Brett goes out of town and I have to show one of his houses, I can get someone on his team.
Yep.
Exactly.
So somebody's responsible for that.
Yep, absolutely.
And we don't see that a whole lot. I mean, actually, I see it. I don't see it a lot.
It's one of the top complaints is the people not answering their phones. So, and there's a lot of business that gets missed because people just won't pick up their phone.
Right.
But then even if you have the clients, getting another agent on the phone to try to do a deal, like that's one of the top complaints in agent forums, that agents have even with other agents.
Well, that's perfect lead into our pet peeve section. So,
this should be fun.
So as realtors, we have a ton of pet peeves, and I know we'll sit there in the back room and talk about it and stuff. So personally, one of my latest pet peeves is this coming soon bit. So we have this deal out here. You can keep it on the market up to 30 days as a coming soon.
Okay.
There's a couple brokerages here.
Is that new?
May of last year.
Yeah, May of last year.
Yeah.
So a little over a year. And so basically, you can put your house on as a coming soon. And some of the realtors, I think, abuse it. And I won't mention them, but we know which ones they are. So you call and you're like, hey, I got a client here this weekend. I want to show your house. It doesn't come on for another 29 days, and we're not showing it. Is this one of your pet peeves?
Yes, both for the way that you mention it, but also the reason why it was created, because the idea nationally for the National Association of Realtors, the intention was to try to even the playing field, because what some folks were saying was that I don't have access to the house because that agent is marketing it privately and trying to double end it. Right. And so my buyer misses out as a result of that. And so the NAR said, can't do that. If you begin to market it publicly, you have to allow other agents to do it. They called it clear cooperation. Well, that was the national policy. Then they said, we understand every market's different, so you guys on the local level figure out what it means to you.
Right.
So here we did do that. We created a specific MLS status. You can have showings. You're not required to have showings, but if you market it publicly, by the next business day, it's supposed to be in the MLS. Whether it is or not, who knows? But it only, that only if you see a property or you get called on a property from your client and you can't find it, do you know that's probably, they don't have it in coming soon. But yeah, they still then use the time to market it privately. They just have it publicly there. And I don't know this particular stat because I don't know how many homes go straight from coming soon into a pending or under contract status. It would be interesting to study it to find out. But we use coming soon for buildup, and we're not on 30 days. We're typically 7 to 10 days in a coming soon status, and but we use it to build up to our new on market or active status for that too.
No, absolutely. And then what about the presentation of offers? So you submit an offer.
This is a good one.
It is. It is. I'm gonna get him riled up.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "You're right. This sucks."
I want to hear
So
this.
the presentation of offers, you'll submit an offer, and the agent will be like, "We're not presenting it until Tuesday." I mean, the fact of the matter is that when they get an offer, the rule is they send it to the client.
Yeah. You unless you have separate specific written instruction, you are supposed to present all offers, once they're received, and the holding of offers. I understand why, because you were trying to build up on different things and then get the best and highest for your client. But if you have a motivated buyer, then they're probably going to present their best and highest right on the front end. Where I get a pet peeve is this notion of, I'm representing a buyer and maybe you have your listing and you have a listing and the buyer likes both houses. Well, you're not going to present offers until Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know when you're going to present offers, right? But my buyer needs a house. They're going to
do it before Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it when you send it to me.
They're going to write an offer on both houses. That's just a matter of practice because a buyer needs a house and they like both houses. And some agents really get it in their craw that if I don't tell you that I'm writing on hers and I don't tell you that I'm writing on his, like you act like that's a big violation on our part. Now, I'm not under contract with both of you, right? So my buyer's not obligated,
Right.
but I am trying to get them into a house. And when you set the rules of engagement for your listing and yours may be different, I got to try to get something, you know. And
No,
so
absolutely.
that's definitely a pet peeve of mine.
And the rules of engagement, I would venture to say probably 90% of the time, maybe even more, it's not discussed with the seller.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah.
The realtors are just kind of like making this stuff up. I'm going to make sure I'm only going to take an offer in red pen, that kind of stuff. And it's nonsense. I mean, it really ties up the industry.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it seems like that is a big time waster on everybody's end, right? Put in an offer, like,
Yep.
can you just, do they like it or not?
Right.
Like, and then let's move on, because if not, we'll go right offer over here.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So-
the other thing we talk about is if you're not pre-qualified. I can't believe we still get calls with people that have not been qualified.
Oh, yikes.
I want to see this $1 million house.
Right.
Are you qualified? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably. I have money under my mattress.
Right.
No, it's crazy. I mean, you still get those calls, don't you?
Right, we do, and an offer in Arizona is not a valid offer unless you actually have the prequal, and so sometimes actually getting that, and we talked earlier about the strength of a local lender and why that's so
Correct.
important, because sometimes you use Lender Inc. That's something national. There's a whole lot of other things that go into that, which I'm sure you've covered on other shows, but an AAR format prequal is really the way that you need to move forward. It's not just our standard practice, but it's the efficiency of the market. And we had 2 offers on 2 listings recently, and they didn't present an offer in an AAR format prequal. They had a separate letter, that the lender generated. And we immediately followed up and we said, look, we need an AAR format. I realize you're a national lender and 50 states and whatever territories or whatever, but this is how we do it here, right? The house is in Arizona. The agent
Yeah.
representing them is a realtor. We're a realtor. This is our format. This is our process. And it's really the most efficient way to move forward. So that is one of my pet peeves too, is not only not being pre-qualified as a buyer, but also if you are pre-qualified, maybe it's not where you're the strongest at, but based upon the decision that you made to go with. So.
Now, the other thing we get too quite a bit is people that come in. Cash is not always the best offer.
No, it really isn't, right?
No. Well, and even now, and some of my clients that are affluent have helped me understand this too, especially in this market. The cost of cash is so inexpensive. Why would you take what you already have when you can get it, at such a low rate? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But I will tell you another pet peeve while we're on it, and this happened to us on one of the things, is when a buyer comes in and they're waiving the cash, right? They're saying we're a cash buyer. We go under contract at cash, okay? And then during the inspection period, they say, you know what? We had a conversation with our trustee, or we had a conversation with our investment advisor, and maybe we want to keep that cash. So we're gonna convert to a conventional loan on this, right? Obviously, the seller's not obligated to do it, but we do now actually warn our sellers up front to say, just because somebody says they're a cash buyer does not mean that you should prefer them over a finance buyer, because we may see this, because it happened enough times. There was like, you just need to be aware
Yeah.
they use it as the entry point for the front door.
like bait.
Yes, and so, but whatever we go with, that's what we're going to close with. So
And people don't understand. You can back out of a contract for that.
yeah,
And so we'll get them
absolutely.
coming in. If they have an FHA, they'll come in with a conventional and then try to switch to an FHA halfway through it, which is
Oh
a
my.
totally different ballgame.
right,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, different requirements, different screening of the house, everything. Yeah,
So your team, now, same thing when you're going out getting lenders and stuff like that. You vet your lenders, right? And I assume you have 4 or 5 that you consistently work with?
absolutely. Yeah.
And so what are your requirements for a lender these days?
So it's funny because
I feel like I'm on the hot seat.
yeah,
You are on the hot seat.
it seems like one of the things people were like, we'll get the loan closed. Like, well, it's kind of the job.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
That's
You
a
don't get paid unless you get it
baseline.
done, right?
Yeah, so let's be very clear. Like getting the loan funded is let's not lead with that as our main
That's a
point.
baseline,
Right.
guys.
So, but service is a key part. Obviously, rates are important, but it's not everything.
Right.
And so, you need to have solid systems and practices, and like we were talking about before we went on the air, you have a team. So this person does this part and they're a specialist at it. This person does this and they have a specialist. And our team operates the same way, right? I mean, we have agents who primarily represent buyers. And so they're very specialized with that. We have Brittany, who's not only our managing broker, but she's also our transaction coordinator. And so she's an expert at the paperwork. We don't touch the paperwork once it's, begin in process, right? Because we're just going to, gum up the process.
Right.
And so, similar, the lenders need to have that availability and accessibility. I mean, I don't like taking calls at 10 or 11, so I try not to make those calls. But, most of this business is done over the weekend, so we need to be able to have conversations with at least somebody. Somebody needs to be able to do things for our buyers.
Like a pre-qual, maybe?
A pre-qual, yep. Because we try to be prepared for the weekend. Doesn't always happen that way, but something happens, and we need to be able to move that. We need to be agile. And just good service. So it's really the fundamentals of it.
And there's a ton of lenders. I mean, lenders are like realtors anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. And I think one thing you said that totally hit home, I know with our team, is having a team where somebody's specialized in everything. It's so important. You want, especially when you're getting a loan or buying a home, you want to make sure who you're working with at whatever stage is like the best at that.
Yep.
Right? You want the professional in whatever role at every stage.
Exactly.
So that speaks volumes.
So Brett, you live up in North Valley,
right,
and stuff, but you do the entire valley as well.
Yeah. So we do sell Valley White. I mean, we've gone as far as East Queen Creek, also known as Santan Valley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also known as tank of gas, one way.
Right. Yeah. So that's a whole day to go down for that. We have done as far east as that, and as far west as I used to say Buckeye, but now we're even as far west as what's the town west of there?
Tolleson?
Even further than that,
West.
past the nuclear reactor.
Whitman?
No,
that's the other way.
But by the way, Whitman, that place is blowing up.
It
right?
is.
Yeah,
Those
I know.
prices have gone up huge.
Well, and I have a client who is starting the football program up there, the new football program, and so we helped them buy and sell this year, and he was telling me about what's going on out there. Like in the next 5 years, it's supposed to be like 30,000 homes out there.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
unbelievable.
Where are they getting the water from?
That's a whole other conversation. So.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
Next podcast, we'll do that. So so real estate, for those of you watching, is not an easy job. I mean, it's tough, but it makes it easier when you have guys like Brett that are out there.
Professionals.
Guys like you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
True
they sit there
professionals.
and like I said, Brett loves going through the charts and all that, which is huge because we don't have to do it. We can go ask him.
Right.
Hey, what do you think on this? Not
right.
but he knows how to read that, and he goes with that angle, which is great.
Yeah.
So now there's people that want to know about you. So the fun part of this.
Okay.
So who is Brett?
Okay. So been here 11 years. We live in Anthem. We moved down here the last weekend of July 2010. I don't know if that's the right time to move to Arizona or not, but I say at least we were halfway through our first summer, so we didn't have to take a full summer right away.
True.
So, but born and raised in Tennessee. I've lived in Missouri, Florida, Colorado before here. So coming up on being here the most, so it's a good thing. Married to my wife Amanda, our two kids, Micah and Alexandra, and we love it here. And
How'd you pick Anthem? Out of the entire valley.
So, you wouldn't think it given, we talk about rents are high and rentals are hot and buyers are, purchases are hot. So you wouldn't think that was the case when we moved down here in 2010, but it literally was.
Yes.
We came down here, worked for GCU at the time, and they brought us down for a week to try to find a place to live because we were relocating down here full time. And literally, we were all over. We were Levine, we were Surprise, didn't do much in the East Valley. Anthem, we were all over the place, and we couldn't get anything. We owned a house in Colorado at the time, and we could not get a thing. And we actually extended the trip a day, didn't work, go back up to Colorado. Our agent at the time, who, believe it or not, in this such a high turnover market, I was holding an open house on one of my listings, and she actually came in the listing.
Oh, no kidding.
So
wow.
my agent at the time, so years and years later. But and so she calls us up and she says, this new rental just came on. It's in this town called Anthem. You gotta send somebody, do whatever, but it'll work for you guys. It'll be fine. And so we did, and we put in the application, and we were still right behind another application. We still got beat out same day, still trying to be agile. And so we look, we'll pay $25 a month more on this place. We have to have a place, right? And so we ended up getting that accepted and lived there 6 years, bought our first house in Anthem after that, sold that last year and bought the house that we're in now. So we just kind of landed there. We tried a number of places, and that's what ended up. But it's formed the foundation of everything we've done here since then.
No,
so.
That's great. And Anthem's beautiful. They got one of the best clubhouses in the valley.
It is beautiful.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
It's really nice.
It's one of the best values in the North Valley. And then the HOA is less than you're going to get in a lot of other places because there's 10,000 homes.
Right.
So the amenities that it provides ends up being much more affordable than what you think it may be. So
it's great
beautiful.
up there. It's great up there. You guys have any pets?
Yes. Yeah. So we've got 2 dogs, and now we have 2 cats. So we rescued a cat 2 years ago this week. Facebook just reminded me about that. So my daughter had wanted a cat for quite some time. My wife had never had a cat. I had cats and dogs growing up. And so, anyway, so we rescued that cat, and she wanted and his name's Sullivan after the Disney movie Monsters, Inc., so we call him Sully. But she wanted a cuddly kitty, and Sullivan decided he was not a cuddly kitty. So this year we also rescued Hunter, and Hunter is a cuddly kitty, and so now my daughter's very happy about that too. So.
What we don't do for our kids, right?
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's funny because we end up with different animals.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to end up with probably a couple guinea pigs pretty soon.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Those be kind of fun.
I had a bunny.
Was it fun?
So fun.
Uh-oh.
The kids always want these weird animals.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite food, because I know there's not a lot of places to eat in Anthem, although they do have a good hamburger place there.
Yeah, and we're working on it, and the value of the North Valley growing like it is, more and more places are coming in. So, favorite food. I'm a foodie, so that's a tough one. So, I could give you an answer now, and it'd still change in the future.
By the time you leave.
Yeah. But and of course, when we're doing this, it's basically lunchtime. So.
I know. I'm like, anything right now. I'm starving.
Well, and everything. I mean, you're with 5-10 minutes from anything. You go down to Happy Valley quite a bit.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little secret. I'm actually I love steak, but I won't go to a steakhouse because I can make it better myself.
Okay, there you go.
So,
You're a good barbecue.
Yeah. So after my daughter was born, my dad treated us to. At the time, we lived in Colorado. So there's a guy. His name is Stephen Reichlin. He's who discovered beer can chicken, and so he was a food reporter for a long time, and now he just talks about grilling and smoking meats and barbecue and stuff like that. So did 2 different years, 3-day seminars with him, and changed my life. So grilling was like making charcoal before that, and so now we do it the right way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then do you ever get time with your wife just to go out?
Yeah.
Movies and stuff?
Yeah, so we try, one of the things we've really done over the past year is worked really hard to have a dedicated day where, we'll go out to dinner and whatever, even though it's low key. And we started Taekwondo this year. As a child, I was 6 months away from my black belt. And so we're going to go and do it. We're going to go all the way. And it's me and my kids. We test on Saturday for our next half belt. And so... but we are 2 days a week I go with my kids to do that, and 1 day a week we take them, and then my wife and I go out and do dinner while the kids are at Taekwondo.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
you
really
gotta
trying to
have
make that time for each other. For
that's great.
Yeah.
Especially in this industry. You
No,
got to
exactly.
make the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also, you should be able to protect yourself, especially
Oh, yeah, I know.
mean,
That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
because every once in a while you get one of those crazy people coming in the open houses. so Brett, thanks for coming on. How can people reach out to you? Website, phone number?
Yeah, so direct phone is area code 480-401-2330. Call or text. Of course, you have that. We're texting all the time. And by the way, I so appreciate your expertise, with rentals and with, even stuff out of state, not out of state, but out of the greater Phoenix area. We send a lot of folks over to the Grandon group because what they want, what we actually specialize in, aren't right in line. But so thanks for always being so receptive
absolutely.
and helping those folks out. But,
This is what's important. I mean, the realtors, lenders, everybody has to kind of work together to make this.
Yep.
It's
Agreed.
a great
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yep.
yeah, we're looking forward to
Yeah.
Now, the one thing, though, that people need to know, Anthem and along the 17 is
Yeah.
probably going to be one of the fastest growing spots in Arizona.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, we have the Taiwanese chip manufacturing company
Yes.
coming in, building a huge multi-billion-dollar factory off of the 17, west of 17,
gonna
south of
put Intel to
Carefree,
shame.
north of the. Well, Intel's already said that they're going to increase their investment in their East Valley facilities as a result of that, and
Wow.
so
Yeah. Have you driven by that lately? We went to
It's
Flagstaff last
unbelievable.
weekend.
Crazy.
And
unbelievable. Yeah.
Huge.
Yep.
I mean, huge. The amount of land. It's
Yeah, well, it's
Insane.
I'll probably get it wrong, but it's at least a $12 billion
Yep.
facility. So, and that's like automakers for Detroit. Like that is the cool thing about Valley Wide is we're rapidly becoming a new Silicon Valley, and you not only have the big guys coming in, Intel, the Taiwanese manufacturing company, but you have these ancillary businesses, still big businesses, not 12 billion big, but still big businesses
Right.
that are coming in order to support them. Like a chemical company just bought there off of Pinnacle Peak.
Yep.
They're going to put in a facility there in the industrial park in order to support that. So, yeah, there's no doubt there's a ton of investment coming in. There's a ton of development coming in, and it's an exciting time to be in the North Valley. And our goal is for my team, the North Valley agents, to really be riding the forefront of that and helping people, whether they're looking for investment, looking for residential to live in themselves. We want to be there to help them.
No,
So,
absolutely.
That's great.
And he's out by you.
Yeah,
closer
I
to
know.
you.
Very close. Yeah.
So
I'm
that-
out
that's
in
perfect.
the Northwest Valley.
Oh,
Pretty
nice.
soon, it's going to be really expensive out here, even more
I
expensive.
know. I know.
And so Anthem prices have gone
I
up
know.
a ton.
They have, but you compare us to some of the other North Valley communities, and we're still, a really great buy.
Right.
And
Yep.
so even though that most of the homes are between 15 and 20 years old, you have new roofs, you have new ACs, and some homes aren't coming up with that, but other homes are getting updated. And it's still a tremendous value. You can get a lot more home for your money there.
Absolutely.
No, you can.
And people moving from other states, I mean, they move here and they go, this costs what? Like, the affordability compared to other states.
Well, and Anthem's a really
win-win
great
here.
family community, too.
Yes.
Trick or
It
treating
is.
out there is awesome.
Yeah.
They have the best fireworks display on 4th of July.
Yes. Oh,
Right.
they do.
Always on the 3rd of July,
On
though.
the 3rd of
Yes.
July,
Yeah.
correct.
That's very cool.
Correct. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Angela, how can people reach out to you to get pre-qualified?
By phone, 623-979-5523, or by email, hendrickteam@vipmtginc.com.
Look at your picture up there.
Oh,
Isn't
there
it so
I am.
good? Look at
Yes.
Brett's up there, too.
That's so funny.
That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
perfect.
Hey, Brett, thanks for coming on.
This has been a real treat.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you
this
so
is
much.
great. And also, hey, what's your radio show?
So Jay and I do a radio show, and it's called The Real Estate Blueprint. So it airs currently Saturdays noon to 1 on KKNT here locally in the Valley. Now we also do a podcast with it, and that we post on our socials and things too. So
Fantastic.
yeah, it's a
Very
lot of
cool.
fun.
And check it out. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a ton of good information, and we all get information from each other, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
So,
Amazing.
hey, another great
Awesome.
show. This was an
Yeah.
awesome show
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you guys so
Yeah.
And
much.
thanks for hanging in there, Brett.
Yep.
So, hey, we will see you guys next week. We got great guests coming up for the rest of the year. We'll see you soon. I'm Jason Grandon with the LOCKBOX, Arizona's #1 brother and sister real estate team. We'll see you soon.